Am I the asshole for calling a woman in the supermarket a creep? Today I took my 3-month-old twins to the supermarket by myself while my wife had a day to herself. She is a stay-at-home and I have been working a lot more due to the holidays. While shopping, my daughter pooped, and I mean she pooped. There's no changing tables in the men's room and there was no family bathroom. I went to the Starbucks in the store and asked if I could change her on one of the tables in the back. I have a blanket and a changing pad in my bag. Her ass wouldn't be on the bare table. The barista said yes, so I got to business. An older woman, probably late 40s early 50s, came up to me and started talking to my son who I was baby wearing on my back. He's cute, so I didn't pay any mind. She then started telling me I needed to make sure to wipe her, little Tukey, referring to her privates. I told her I am well aware of how to change a diaper. She continued to critique, best word I can use, my wiping style, and eventually when I went to change her clothes due to baby poop blowout and while I was putting her dirty clothes in a waste bag, the woman goes to put her clothes on her. I snatched my daughter up off the table and told the woman, I don't need someone else dressing my baby, go away you creep. The woman looked flabbergasted and then started crying, saying she was only trying to help. Pretty much everyone in the surrounding area told me that was an overreaction and she was only trying to assist me. I feel bad for snapping at her. My wife told me not to because she would have done the same thing, but I feel like a douchebag. Am I the asshole? Edit. I have not had a comment asking this, but I will put this out there. I did not go to my car to change them because I did not have a car. I walked to the store that is only about a 5-minute walk, and I was not going to make my baby sit in poop while I finished shopping. Final edit. I changed my baby on the table because I wasn't going to allow my infant to sit in shit while I put my groceries back and walked home. I realized changing her on the table was not the best idea, but it was my only option. I could not change her on the floor of the men's room with my other baby still on me, and the store manager told me it was all right and they will sanitize as soon as I was done. I also did not think to ask to use the women's changing station. I recognize that I, as a 6'7" male, and intimidating, and even with my 2 babies I thought it would be an issue. In the future I will make sure to ask. Thank you for everyone who suggested it. Just to add, I didn't ask if I was an asshole for changing my daughter on the table, and I don't particularly care if you think I am. I asked if I was the asshole for how I responded to the woman. Thank you. Not the asshole. If you were to reverse the gender roles, you probably would have walked out of there in handcuffs. Not the asshole. She was intrusive, sexist and, yes, creepy. You were absolutely right to shut her down. I am very sorry that so much of the world is built on the assumption that men don't parent children. It's wrong that the men's room has no changing table. No, no, no. It's not an overreaction when some random touches your baby for any reason. What on earth? Not the asshole. JFC. Not the asshole. Rule number 1 of literally everything is never touch someone else's child. Nothing about your situation was any of her business from the start. She's lucky you didn't make more of a scene and call the police. Not the asshole at all. You do not ever try to touch a stranger's baby. Especially not during COVID and flu season. Maybe it was a bit much to call her a creep, but as someone who's also got a baby I would definitely overreact too if a stranger tried to dress him. Not the asshole. IDK. What possesses people to think it's okay to touch other people's children? I've seen this happen with others and I'm not looking forward to when people think they can just walk up and touch my child. I'm still pregnant and I've gotten quite a few people who think it's perfectly fine to just touch my belly or try to lift my shirt. It's honestly mortifying. Not the asshole. Now consider the following. A mother is carrying her child on her back and some guy comes up and starts playing with your kid. Would already be getting some side eyes. And then the guy proceeds to criticize the mother's changing style and proceeds to try to dress the mother's baby. The mother, and probably everyone else, would say that the guy is a creep. If it's wrong for one gender, it's wrong for all genders. You don't get to touch another person's baby when they're changing it. Not the asshole. Hello pandemic. Why the FK would anyone think it appropriate to help anyone without asking first? Also, even without C-19, it is right here in the start of cold, flu, and RSV season. Don't touch other people's babies without permission. Am I the asshole for taking back my mother-in-law's birthday gift and leaving her house? My mother-in-law's birthday was yesterday and we had dinner at her house last night. She's always been a little particular about her gifts and because of that usually sends a very detailed list on the things she would like. This year she said she felt like everyone knew her well enough to get her something we knew she'd like, so she won't send us a list. I decided on a topaz necklace on a petite chain, topaz being her birthstone, and she enjoys very delicate jewelry. My husband unfortunately was unable to attend dinner, so this incident occurred without him present. When it was time to open presents, she opened ours. She took the necklace out of the box and told us the stone looked like a piss rock, and we should have known she wouldn't have liked it. I reached to the middle of the table where she had tossed it and gently grabbed the jewelry box, standing up from the table. I told her I would return it and apologized for gifting her a piss rock, and left before she had time to respond. She called me multiple times on my way home and left me multiple voicemails telling me I ruined her birthday, and that was incredibly disrespectful. My husband told me I reacted emotionally but told me she was out of line, and should have just said thank you because that's not how adults handle gifts they dislike. Am I the asshole? Not the asshole. I find it hilarious when people are exceptionally rude and then get offended when people respond appropriately. Not the asshole. I wouldn't give this lady a damn thing ever again. Adults should literally expect nothing from anyone besides their spouse on their birthday. You aren't 12 anymore. Time for Mill to grow up. If an adult ever sends me their birthday wishlist, I'm cutting that person out of my life. You didn't ruin her birthday, she did. Instead of saying, "Wherever did you get such a lovely topaz?" and then secretly returning it to the store, like any civilized person does when they receive a gift they don't like, she insults your gift, and you for not reading her mind correctly, and then gets angry when you leave. Not the asshole. Not the asshole, and your husband is being weak and cowardly by trying to play the "everyone is wrong here" game. She's forfeited all rights to expect you to behave civil towards her. Stand your ground. Not the asshole. The way adults handle gifts they don't like, is to say, "Thank you, that looks lovely, and I will enjoy wearing it." The way entitled child assholes handle gifts they don't like is to say, "That looks like a piss rock, you should have known I wouldn't have liked it." NTA, it was a thoughtful gift and she behaved rudely. But from her perspective you did ruin her birthday. You were expected to take the insult and smile sweetly so the evening could continue. Leaving forced her to be accountable for her behavior. That's the real reason she's mad. Don't apologize, she'll only behave worse next time if you do. Not the asshole. Well, she certainly sounds like a peach. Face with rolling eyes. I would have a serious talk with your husband and make a "no more gifts for Mill" rule unless he picks it out and is there to deal with her temper tantrum afterward. What she did was pathetic. She ruined her own birthday. Although, I think that was her real intention when she decided to not send out her wish list and expected all of you to read her mind. I would put her in a little timeout to think about her actions. If anyone should be apologizing, it should be Mill. Not the asshole at all. The way you responded was perfect. She doesn't like her gift? She wants to be shitty about it? You take it back and leave immediately. Perfect. Am I the asshole for not accepting my MIL's gift and walking out of my birthday party? Me, 35 female, and my husband, 37 male, have been together for 7 years. I always wanted to be a mom, and growing up I always had baby dolls that I considered as my babies. People ask what I wanted to be when I grow up, and I remember telling them excitedly that I wanted to be a mommy. A wife and a mommy. I also remember talking to my husband about kids during our first date. I told him I wanted at least 5 children, maybe more, and he kept laughing. Unfortunately, we've done everything possible to have kids, but it was hopeless. Our recent option was IVF. Let me say, one of the hardest experiences I've gone through. We went through sessions of IV but none worked. After our last IVF trial failed, my husband cried himself to sleep for weeks. I felt awful because it felt like I was letting him down since I'm the one with the most issues here. I told my husband I was done trying and he understood, but his family didn't take it well and kept trying to talk me into doing one more session, but I declined and the pressure kept coming, especially by my mill. My birthday was last week. My in-laws threw me a huge party and most of them brought baby clothes, toys, as gifts, no idea why. Mill handed me a small box. I opened it and there was a pair of baby socks and a check. I knew what this was about right away because the money she gifted me is what people pay for a round of IVF. I asked why she was giving me money for another round of IVF after I said I was done trying. She said she hoped I'd do this one last time for her and family because she prayed and God showed her signs that this will work this time. I was mad. I told her she didn't understand how much of an exhausting and emotionally and physical draining process this is, and only to be disappointed again is just not worth it anymore. I almost cried thinking that all they think of when they see me as kids and how I failed at having them. She tried to argue, but I returned the gift and walked out, which set the family off later, saying stuff I was giving up on everyone, called me selfish to make a decision to stop trying without talking to them, knowing how it will affect them since they were and are hoping and praying for at least one grandchild. She and family said I shattered their hopes and dreams after returning the gift and said I was negative and dismissive. My husband, who didn't attend the party because he was with a friend, said I should have accepted the gift instead of disrespecting everyone and leaving. Has anyone pointed out how weird it is that the in-laws threw up a B-day party but yet the husband didn't attend because they were with a friend? I feel like the husband made sure they didn't go to avoid the shit show they knew was coming. Not the asshole. Not the asshole. Firstly, I just want to say that you haven't let anybody down. Not a single person. They have though, they've let you and your husband down. It's insensitive of them to ask you to do another round for them. It's horrific of them to gift you baby clothes on your birthday. To ask you to do another round and gift you baby clothes on your birthday is next level asshole ERY. Not the asshole. For obvious reasons. But also shout out to your husband who ditched your birthday to hang out with his buddy. Not the asshole. Your mill needs an education and boundaries. I don't know all the ins and outs of the different IVF treatments, but I know it's rough. If it's of any comfort to you at this point, there are other ways of becoming a parent you can consider when you're ready and if your partner is on board. But your mill was way out of line, and I'm not too happy about your husband taking her side in this and not respecting your feelings. Not the asshole. Since when did someone's uterus and what they do with it become anyone else's concern? You are not an incubator that is solely there to house a potential grandchild. You are a human being who is going through an incredible amount of grief and difficulty. If having a child in the family is so important to them, tell them to foster a child who needs a home. There are plenty out there, and it won't require you to sacrifice your physical and emotional well-being for just their benefit. Not the asshole. This is a decision to be made between you and your husband. It's understandable that his family want grandkids, etc., but it is not their decision and they have no place in saying anything. It would be one thing if they offered to cover the costs when you first said you were done, and then backed off. This was manipulative and extremely heavy-handed. Also just straight up mean. I like how they said it was selfish to make this decision without talking to them about it. I'm seething a wee bit as I type, so my typing is a little less coherent than typical. I'm sorry for what you're going through, both about the fertility issues and the in-law issues. Not the asshole. Info. Has your husband been ruled out as the infertile one yet? You might not be the partner with the problem. Info. Are you sure your husband didn't know beforehand what his mother was planning? And what business has he to visit a friend when you celebrate your birthday? Am I the asshole for letting my daughter bring a different toy? I, 28F, have a daughter who just turned 6, and has just gone to her very first birthday party. The party was one of those theme parties, Barbie themed, and so all the girls were told to bring their favorite Barbie doll with them and they'd do a bunch of activities with the dolls. It was a really cute idea. My daughter, however, is still struggling a lot with motor skills at her age. We're working with a doctor, and has trouble with smaller toys. She does have Barbies but gets incredibly frustrated playing with them because she can't hold them properly. Knowing this, I tried calling the parents a day or two before but they didn't pick up at all. The day of and they still didn't respond, so I grabbed my daughter's bigger doll, and a Barbie just in case, and we headed out. I also grabbed some items from the activities, that were sized a bit more properly so that she could still participate. The second we got to the backyard where the party was, the birthday girl's mom pulled me aside and asked what I was doing without a Barbie. I explained my side, and how she never picked up the phone. She said I was being incredibly inappropriate and that I had ruined the party by bringing a toy off-brand. We ended up staying throughout the party despite this, and there were no issues. A few kids did ask why my daughter had a different doll, but my daughter had no trouble explaining that she just couldn't hold small things well, and nobody really cared too much. Everyone had a good time, and my daughter got to participate in most of the activities, and the ones her doll couldn't fit, like the hairstyling game, her doll's head was too big for the accessories, she helped another girl, or watched. Later, after I got home, I ended up with multiple messages from the birthday girl's mother telling me I was no longer invited to any other events she'd be hosting. Her daughter was sad she didn't get to have an all-Barbie party, that we shouldn't have come and that it wasn't her problem my daughter was slow, etc., etc. My husband was outraged having heard about all of this, but I honestly feel like I should have just not come at all after reading what she had to say. Not the asshole. I'm the petty guy who would share the conversation online and in the neighborhood groups so people see what she's really like. Edit. Thanks for the awards, kind stranger. Smile. Not the asshole. I work with children with motor delays and I think you were spot fucking on point. You even had the Barbie option. You sound like you care immensely. Work at it, and your daughter is blessed to have that insightful influence from her parent. That other woman is lost in the sauce and deserves to be tossed. Keep on doing your thing. Completely not the asshole. You made several attempts to talk about it ahead of time, and to be honest, no kid is going to be sad that a guest did not bring a specifically branded toy. More guests equals more presents equals more fun equals less sadness. If the mom wants to be a lifelong Barbie fan club shill, let her. Her daughter will be the one who pays the price of losing fun guests over the years, because believe me, you won't be the only one who fails her future tests. And I would not want to socialize with anyone who talked about my kid the way she did yours. She's obviously a stuck-up ignoramus. Nobody really cared too much. The only person that seemed to care was the mother that hosted. Not the asshole. Not the asshole. Later, after I got home, I ended up with multiple messages from the birthday girl's mother telling me I was no longer invited to any other events she'd be hosting. Her daughter was sad she didn't get to have an all-Barbie party, that we shouldn't have come, and that it wasn't her problem my daughter was slow, etc., etc. I call BS. This entire theme is something the parents made up. The daughter doesn't care at all. Not the asshole. That woman is horrible. Feel free not to attend her next event though, you'll not be missing much, I expect. What a disgusting human being. Avoiding any contact with you, then blaming you and your daughter like that. I fear for her daughter's upbringing. Not the asshole at all, and a petty part of me would want to post about that on social media, without going into specifics, but well, that wouldn't be right, either. Besides, I'm sure her daughter isn't that sad between the presents and junk food. Not the asshole. What a weird concept for a party. My 6-year-old has been to a decent amount of birthday parties and has never been asked to bring her own toy. This mom sounds like a piece of work too. Who take a children's birthday party that seriously?